There we go.
There we go. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, Adam. And it has been a really robust and interesting discussion so far. Kia ora, greetings everyone tuning into this webinar. In the Cook Islands, it is currently midnight, but not to worry. I promise you all I'll stay alert and awake. But before I begin, I would like to thank the Cobalt Institute for organising this webinar. I am grateful for the opportunity to share briefly on the Cook Islands experience. And as you would have heard from our Prime Minister's speech, the Cook Islands, like many Pacific countries, has a close relationship with our ocean. Today, we still draw cultural, social, economic, and environmental values from the ocean. So our role and responsibility as custodians of our marae moana is an important one for us. You heard earlier that for decades we've known about polymetallic nodules within our waters, and it's in recent years that we have been taking careful steps to developing the seabed sector. Now, the most significant and recent milestone has been the issuing of 3 exploration licenses, including one to one of our panel speakers, Moana Minerals. Now, these companies not only met our requirements, but importantly understand and accept the Cook Islands' values and goals in developing this sector. There have been some queries regarding the use of the term harvesting, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it is a term that is used beyond just crops. If you look up one definition of harvest in the Cambridge Dictionary, it is to collect a natural resource in order to use it effectively. Although I would welcome a separate conversation on terminologies another day. If we can move on to the next slide, please. I do want to talk briefly to Cook Islands Seabed Minerals sustainability goals. Now, environmental protection, this is one we can all agree on is a fundamental goal across all of the stakeholders involved in seabed minerals development. And we've heard mention of the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, which also enshrines this and ensures that no activities which could cause serious harm to the marine environment are allowed. And again, I'd like to reiterate the point as to where we are currently. There has, at this point in time, no decisions have been made on whether to allow exploitation to go ahead. A key one for the Cook Islands has been people empowerment. We are very clear that we are building the seabed minerals sector for the benefit of our Cook Islands people. This is what has driven our stakeholder and community engagement, and that is what I want to talk about a little later. Of course, economic diversity, you heard that being spoken about by the Prime Minister. And for years, the Cook Islands has been heavily reliant on our tourism industry. Now, we are a country that is 0.01% land and 99.99% ocean. So it is inevitable that we would turn to our ocean for our future sustainable development and solutions. Another goal or key aspect you heard spoken about during this webinar has been the advancement of scientific knowledge. And I believe that was Adrian who touched on this. There is still so much that we do not know about our own marae moana. And through our 3 license holders, they will contribute nearly $200 million combined over the next 5 years in their exploration research programs. That is of huge significance to the Cook Islands, and learning, this journey that we're going to be on for the next 5 years is exciting for us. Another goal is the contribution towards the low carbon economy, and we've heard some discussion on that. And of course, I accept that there are more studies needed to better understand whether the use of the metals from nodules can actually contribute towards the green transition. But I will say that initial studies to date are encouraging. And as a small island state, the Cook Islands currently experience the impacts of climate change through, for example, sea level rise. Next slide, please. Now, you heard earlier, Prime Minister Brown spoke to the keys to building a sustainable and responsible seabed sector. We've heard all of our previous speakers touch on some of these points, or if not all of them. So I won't speak to them in detail, but I will expand further on bringing our people along the journey. I do think that the Cook Islands is unique, or can share some insights as far as our stakeholder engagement is concerned. Now, before I do touch on that, I do also want to raise two related matters that we heard earlier in the webinar. The first is that I think we can all agree that there are knowledge gaps in understanding our marine environment and the potential impacts. Now, important to closing those knowledge gaps is going to be exploration research activities, as well as testing and trials, which are going to be critical for governments like the Cook Islands and authorities, so that they have the information and knowledge needed to make informed science-based decisions. We've also heard statements in this webinar around looking into alternative technologies, changing the way we produce and consume, as well as the circular economy. I agree we should do that, but I would, being mindful of the expected global metal demands in future years, I think my proposal at least, is that rather than choosing one or the other, it is in society's best interests to continue exploring all of the available options and technologies, and not to halt one potential industry or technology prematurely. Next slide. And so this brings me to one of the keys that I wanted to expand on, which is the Cook Islands stakeholder engagement. This has been an ongoing for decades since we first became aware of nodules, and of course before the Seabed Minerals Authority was established in 2013. As this sector has progressed and developed, we have stepped up our efforts. In particular, last year, which you see here is a snapshot of our community consultations. It was a critical year for us, as that was marked by our exploration licensing process. And last year, we reached 12 of our 13 inhabited islands. Now, these islands are spread across our 2 million square kilometre EEZ. Some of these islands are only reachable by boat. And so we, as I said, it is our priority has been our people. And so we have made that effort to ensure that we are engaging with them and meeting them and going to them. So the range of stakeholder groups that we have engaged with include our 3 pillars and our grassroots communities. I do want to mention that here in the Cook Islands, our 3 pillars of society are our government leaders, our religious and traditional leaders. You can also see from the screen, we undertook surveys, and this was really to help us get an idea of how to better improve our engagement. For example, what we found with our engagement with our grassroots people is that they prefer it when we deliver our presentations in Cook Islands Māori, which is what we will continue to do. And the main feedback we received from our surveys last year, and from discussions with people in the consultations, is that they have thanked us and appreciated us for the effort that we have made towards reaching out to them and letting them know what is happening and trying to help them understand what it's all about, really. For myself personally, I have enjoyed each and every one of these consultations because it means that one extra Cook Islander at least has a better understanding of what Seabed Minerals is about. But we also have gotten really good questions and suggestions from our Cook Islands people. They've expressed quite clear views in terms of Seabed Minerals issues, including on our regulatory regime, opportunities for our Cook Islands people, and environmental protection, to name a few. And they've shared this with us, and we've taken that on board. So as far as stakeholder engagement, I have a few takeaway points. The first is seabed minerals is a complex issue. And so you've already heard some of that being touched on in the webinar. And you also are aware that there are different resources across different scales in different regions. And so for us, the challenge when we're engaging with our Cook Islands communities is in breaking down those concepts so that they can understand it and therefore be able to engage in it. So stakeholder mapping and planning is important. Equally important is how are we integrating that stakeholder feedback into our decision making and our future planning for the sector. Looking ahead, I can see that the 3 license holders will also have their own separate responsibilities to engage with Cook Islands communities because of this new phase that we're entering into. But overall, I'm happy with where we're heading in terms of our stakeholder engagement. Of course, there are definitely areas for improvement, and that's something that we will continue to work on and revisit. Next slide, please. So those were really, in a nutshell, some of the key points that I wanted to touch on. We've heard a lot of discussion around stakeholder engagement, so I thought it would be valuable to add the Cook Islands experience as far as that is concerned. But me taki mata to everyone. Thank you for your attention.